Hi there folks, welcome back to the IB and Andy Fishing channel. I hope you are doing really well. We are back on the review train today because it's a bit rainy and miserable outside, and today we are reviewing the Lamson Guru S HD 5 Plus fly reel. Now Lamson, one of those brands these days, pretty ubiquitous globally. I think everyone knows about Lamson. Produced in the US, started by two guys that actually weren't necessarily fly reel manufacturers. They came at fly reels from another industry. They came from the bicycle industry. So brought in technologies and slightly different ways of thinking than you might have found traditionally on normal fly reels at that point. They started a company called Waterworks and they made the original ULA ultra large arbor fly reel, and then Waterworks and Lamson joined to form the company that we know today that has made this reel. I've had these now for over a year, just over a year now. You guys have noticed them in the videos a few times. We've had a few comments asking about when this review is going to happen. We are here now. We're a little bit late to the party maybe, but I couldn't resist doing the review because this has been an absolutely unbelievable piece of kit for the entire time I've had it. We'll crack straight on. We've got plenty to talk about. One place that Lamson could probably do a little bit better is stuff like the box. It's a pretty plain brown box. I mean, the reality is it doesn't need to do a whole lot. In there you get a little bit of detail on the warranty and stuff like that, but there's not a whole lot going on in there. It's just a box ultimately. You do get a relatively nice neoprene padded pouch that you can use to keep the reel on the rod while you're transporting it. So that's nice. Nice and soft on the inside as well, but again, not massively important. Could probably be a bit fancier, but that's okay. But inside there, what we've got is the Guru S HD, and as I say, this is the 5 Plus model. Now what I want to do here straight away is just take it back a little bit to when I was first looking at buying these reels. And there was a bit of a process here. Previously I'd been associated with the tackle company, I'd left that. I still had some of the kit left, but particularly the reels I had were starting to look a little bit tired. They were starting to get a little bit laggy and a little bit sticky, and I knew I was going to have to replace my guiding kit pretty soon. So I started looking around and I had a really specific sort of idea of what I wanted from a fly reel. I wanted it to be proper, good quality machined aluminium. I wanted it to be properly anodised. I'm a guide. These reels are getting used all the time. They get bashed around a lot, so it needed to be durable. I wanted them to be simple in design so I could trust them, so I knew they were going to be robust, so I knew they weren't going to go wrong on the bank. I wanted something that if it did go wrong, I could probably fix it on the bank side rather than having to run and get a new reel or change anything around. I wanted something full cage specifically so I could swap between my nymphing rigs and a fly line rig and not have to worry too much about, you know, is this the right reel for this, is the right reel for that. I just wanted a set of reels that I could interchange. And I looked around and there were a few options on the market, but nothing really grabbed me until I saw these. And in truth, during the whole time that I've owned these reels, all those things that I talked about, all the things that I wanted to get from these reels, I have got, and then possibly a little bit more. So let's just run through some of the specs and some of the features of these reels very quickly. As you'd expect from a modern fly reel, nice large arbor. I've just measured this at 9 centimeters across the diameter, so nice wide reel, storing your line on nice wide coils, so whether you're using fly line or whether you're using mono leaders, if you're Euro nymphing, nice big coils there means you're not going to pick up extra memory. Spools are a decent depth without being overkill. The Lamson website says that you'll get a weight forward 5 plus about 100 yards of backing on here. I reckon that's probably about right. They might be over-rigging that slightly. I don't think I've got 100 yards on here. I have got a weight forward 5 line on here. There's not lots of space left, but in truth it's not a million miles off. I'd say these are probably perfect for a 4 to 5 line rating. I've got a relatively simple black plastic handle here. It's smooth, it's relatively straight, there's nothing there that can go wrong. And then you'll see on the other side of the spool there is no counterbalance. Come around the back here and you'll find a really nicely machined drag knob there that you can get your fingers into. This is the blaze colour. I get the impression they've stopped doing the blaze colour in this reel at the moment. They're just doing the blackout on the Lamson website, but I have found lots of these still on the market elsewhere in the world, so you can still get this colour. But nicely machined in there. It's not one of the fancy one-turn drag systems, but as we'll talk about in a bit, I don't mind that too much because I really trust the drag on this reel. It's not a one-piece frame. The reel foot up here is screwed into the reel, but I will say, having bashed these around for as long as I have, absolutely no problems there. And one of the design features that really sort of set Lamson apart from the very start, to take the spool off this reel, there is no catch, there's no latch, there's no spring or anything, there's no extra parts or extra screws. All you do is from the back, give it a push with both your thumbs, and it pops out. So there we go. Again, they're saving parts here, they're saving maintenance. It's another thing to go wrong that they've managed to design out of the reel, so kudos to that one. We'll start in the cage first. As I talked about from the start, I definitely wanted something full cage. It means I can use it for my nymphing without having to worry about leaders going through the cage. I can use it for the dry fly fishing because it's not heavy. It works for everything. It's a real sort of all-rounder, this reel. It's one of those reels you could buy and just put on any trout rod that you wanted. In the middle there, we've got the drag system. And this is one of the things that really sets Lamson apart, is that drag system. As I talked about earlier, these two guys came from outside the fishing industry and looked at things slightly differently. And they looked at the conventional design of a drag system with a load of pads that sort of, as you screw the drag, they push down against each other. They looked at that and thought, actually, well, we can do better than that. And one of Lamson's flagship features on its reels is that the drag system is conical. So rather than being two pads that sort of push against each other, it's two cones, kind of a female and male cone, that as you screw the drag, screw more tightly into each other. So you sort of get a feathered drag system. You'll find as you tighten it, it sort of incrementally goes up. You can sort of feel a difference every time you turn that drag system a little bit. So as I say, even though it's not one of the fancy ones where it's a single turn drag system, I really don't mind that because it's a drag system that I really trust. Lamson have barely changed the design on this drag now since they started making reels, and there's a reason for that. It is absolutely fantastic. I genuinely think the Lamson conical drag system is probably the best on the market. The black screw on the front of the drag system there is what's hiding your roller bearing. All you need to do to change this reel from right to left hand wind is unscrew that, flip the bearing, screw that back on, and you've now changed your reel round. Because that conical drag system is so slim, it means the housing is more slim, and you end up with a drag system there that you could probably use in salt water. There is absolutely nothing getting inside that. Again, really clever piece of design this is. I love the way Lamson approach reels. That black screw there that's holding your roller bearing in is quite heavily knurled around the edges. It's quite sharply knurled. And the reason for that is not only is it the screw to hold your housing in, but it's also the other half of the clicker on the reel. I think that's so clever. It's a great way of reducing the number of parts on a reel. Again, Lamson's ethos is all about simplifying the process, simplifying the manufacturing. I'm going to pop this one down for the moment and we'll come to the spool of the reel. So coming back to that, you can see there is the black clicker in there that's going to rotate around that plastic screw we just talked about to create your click. You can see there on the inside of the spool there's evidence of that counterbalance being machined into the spool rather than having to be attached afterwards. Really clever design. You've got that nice strong axle there that the entire reel is going to revolve around, that pushes into your drag system. And that is it. That is all of the parts, all of the moving parts on this spool. You've got a handle that rotates and you've got a black clicker. And nothing else on there can be removed or unscrewed or can fall apart. In terms of weight on these reels, it's a sort of middling weight, which again I think is probably appropriate given that this reel that's going to be used for both Euro nymphing and for some fly line fishing as well. Lamson state that the weight on one of these is 4.6 ounces, which of course means purely as a fly line reel, it might not be the lightest reel you've ever seen on the market, but it's also not an offensive weight. What it also means though is that as a Euro nymphing reel, actually it's a nice weight. It means that those of you who are looking to balance a rod, and again I know this splits people balancing Euro nymphing kit and not, but if you are looking for something just to add a little bit more weight at the butt section, actually at 4.6 ounces this is a really lovely weight to do a bit of everything with. Now we're going to talk about use here. As I say, I've had these reels over a year. They've been my guiding reels for the entire time. Pretty much everybody who's done a guided day with me for the last nearly 18 months has used one of these reels, so they've had a heck of a lot of use. I've got to know these really well. And the first thing I want to talk about is durability. Said at the start I wanted a reel that I could trust, that was reliable and was going to be durable. And actually, just before I started filming this, I thought I'll give all these reels a bit of a wipe down. It's the first time they've been cleaned since I bought them. I'll give them a wipe down just so they look a bit nicer on the footage. And I was absolutely staggered at the condition of these reels. Given they get bounced off rocks, they're in and out of my car, scraped along car parks and stuff like that. This kit probably hasn't been treated particularly well. There is very little signs of any gravel rash on any of these. There's the odd bit here and there, but it really is the odd bit. When we're talking about durability, that type 2 anodization that Lamson are using looks like it's a really high quality one. And I'm not seeing any great evidence of anything going particularly wrong with that finish. I think the simplicity of the design of these reels is one of the reasons why they're going to be so durable. There are so few moving parts, there's no latches or springs or stuff like that. There's just not a whole lot to go wrong really. Outside of that drag system, and nothing's really getting in there because it's so well sealed, there are 3 moving parts: the handle, the drag knob and the clicker. And between those 3 things, I'll be honest, they're not areas of a reel that you'd particularly associate with things going wrong. It's usually the more complicated stuff, but the beauty of these is they aren't complicated. I'm really happy I went with the full cage version of this. They do a Guru S in a normal version, not the HD version. I'm really happy I went with the full cage. As I say, I personally don't think these are too heavy to put on the back of a 9-foot 4-weight fly rod. I think they've been really nice on all of my different nymphing rods. I think as an option for a fly angler who wants one reel to do a little bit of everything, these things are absolutely fantastic. What's also been fantastic is that drag system, and as I've sort of alluded to a few times during this review, that conical drag system is so good. They use it on their tiny little stream reels, they use it on their big saltwater reels. It's so clever, it's so genius. It's stood the test of time. That conical drag system is brilliant. I'm regularly fishing with 7X at the moment. The rivers around here are very low and very clear, and we're having to use 7X tippet, about 2.5 pound. We've hooked some relatively big fish. There's been trout back in the feed lines which shouldn't be there. We've been hooking those and been having to get those back in. I just trust this drag system with that light tippet. You can set it once, you can rely on it to stay set like that. They don't stick, they don't judder, they don't jag. It just does exactly what you want it to. That conical drag system is brilliant. The design on these reels is, I'll call it inoffensive, it's modern enough, it does look like a nice reel, but they've not gone crazy with, I don't know, bonkers colours and stuff like that. This blaze design had the little bit of orange on there. As I say, I get the impression from the Lamson website they're not doing the blaze design anymore, they've done a blackout version of the same reel. And it is worth mentioning actually that the standard Lamson Guru S spools do fit this reel, so if you've already got a Guru S and think, well actually, I wouldn't mind one of those for doing some urine nymphing with, the spools that you've got on your current reel will fit the cage on this one. Really, really nice piece of design. Bit of thought there from Lamson, I like that. So I imagine you guys are probably getting a bit of a vibe at the moment. You're sort of getting the feeling that I like these reels, and the question is probably how much do I like them? Well, I like them this much. That's 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 at the moment and they all get used regularly. I've got 2 set up for urine nymphing, I've got 3 set up with fly line. These are my guiding reels. These are the reels that I take out and work with every single day. As I say, I know these reels well, I know what they're like. I'm always looking when I do these reviews, I've got to come up with something that I don't like about a reel, otherwise it just seems incredibly biased. And I'll be honest with you, with these things, it's really difficult. I cannot find anything I don't like about these reels. Nothing has gone wrong. I don't think anything's going to go wrong because there's nothing to go wrong. The simplicity of the design on these Lamsons is going to mean they're just going to last and last and last. I want to get 10 years out of these reels. That's the idea. They've got to pay for themselves. It cost me a lot of money. I'm going to. I know I'm going to, because I've got friends, clients who I sold the original Lamson Gurus to 12 years ago when I was working at Farlow's in London. And they're still using them, they still work, they're still going. They are a timeless reel, the Lamson Guru. I'd say up there with sort of the iconic reel ranges now. Lamson have got these, they've got the light speeds, speedsters even you might say are one of the iconic Lamson reel ranges. And they're all still working, they're brilliant. Absolutely timeless, almost completely indestructible. I sort of knew what I was getting before I bought these reels, it's been confirmed to me. For me, this is the best all-round trout reel on the market. I've said it. There we go. There's your headline. The best all-round trout reel on the market. That said, that reliability, the indestructibility, the quality of that finish, all of those things we've talked about, it does come at a fair old price. These are not cheap. At the moment in the UK, the Guru S HD 5 Plus, this one I've got in my hands, is retailing at around about 360 quid, which is plenty of money for a trout reel. I know, don't get on at me. I know this is a lot of money for a trout reel, but I think for the amount of time this is going to last, and this could be a one in a lifetime reel, I really don't think this is unreasonable. It's made in America. It's unbelievably high quality machining. It's got that drag system you know that you can rely on. It's backed up with a Lamson warranty. £360, yes, or you could go out and spend 50 quid and get something you could catch trout with. Will it be as reliable as this? Will it be as versatile as this? Will it be as well machined as this? Absolutely not, because very few, if any, fly reels on the market are as good as these. Thank you very much for watching this review, we really appreciate it. If you've got one of these reels, get in the comment section, let me know your opinions on it. As you can tell, I absolutely love them, I'm definitely not going to replace them. And that's about all I've got to say. The best trout reel on the market, Lamson Guru S HD 5 Plus, it is perfect. Go and treat yourself. I'm going to crack on now, but thank you very much for watching this review. We really appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon for some more fishing, hopefully some dry fly fishing coming up soon, and some more reviews coming up in the future. Take care, folks. Bye bye.